Hi, it's Jay here with my second YouTube video. I thought I would participate in a brand new tag by Feeding My Soul 1212. It is the hashtag the 12 deck tag. And for today, I still have the same nail polish on as yesterday. That's Dreamland Lacquer's Sea Winkle. And today's scent of the day is Source Apothecary's Pistachio. So this has notes of baked pistachio meringue, vanilla bean, sugar, and a sprinkle of chamomile. And this I like a lot better than yesterday. I like sweet scents in general, and this just has a glazed pistachio, kind of like a roasted glazed pistachio note to it, and it's beautiful. So I rate this an 8 out of 10. Yesterday, I rated the perfume a 6 out of 10, and when my husband watched the video, he was like, damn. So I am pretty, I can be a little bit harsh with my perfume judgments, but I have so many different samples to try, and I'm pretty picky about the things that I like, and what I would want to turn into a full-size bottle. And so you can't buy every single scent that you like. And so, yeah, I don't think that I would full size this one, but I really enjoy it. So just enough to try it out, wear it. Anyways, so the first prompt for today is 3 decks you felt called to use as soon as you received them and why. So some decks, when I see them, they stick out in my mind, and I think about them a lot before I purchase them, and this was one of them. I sat on this purchase for quite a while before buying it, and I find that kind of helps build the anticipation, make sure that you really like it and you're going to work with it. And so as soon as this deck came in, this is Daydreaming in Situ, I got started working with it right away. And one of the things that I love about this deck is, about the artwork in particular, is that it's almost like mosaic, where she cuts out little pieces and then builds the picture using all these tiny little fragments of images. And I just think it's so unique and so beautiful. And I love the art history aspect of this deck. Another deck that I have been in heavy rotation since I received it many years ago is the Spread Machine Oracle. So as soon as this came in, I implemented it into my practice of using these cards to create my spreads, and I pretty much, it hasn't left my regular practice. Sometimes I wax and wane with there's other things that I want to do, use spread books and create my own, but this deck has been a pretty strong part of my practice. The third deck that I felt called to use as soon as I received it is this sweet little Spirit Kittens Oracle. So I had this Spirit Cats deck. I've had that for many years as well. And while I did enjoy using it, and it's such a cute little hug deck, when I saw that the kitten version, the smaller deck, had journaling prompts at the bottom, I was like, okay, this is the same, it's in the same vein as the Spread Machine, where I can use these cards to create spreads. So sometimes I'll just shuffle and see what card pops out, and then I will use the question at the bottom of the card to create a tarot spread. And that's how I've been using it as soon as it arrived. So I'll set out maybe 3 cards. So I'll see what the Spirit Kittens want me to know, and then I will shuffle and pull my tarot cards. I'd be with jumpers, but just for this, we'll pull a couple cards. And that's how I would use the Spirit Kittens in a spread. So yeah, as soon as this deck came, well, it's a set of 2 little mini decks, but as soon as they came, I was like, this is exactly how I want to use them. Three decks in your collection that you've never felt called to use, and why? So when I first read this question, I was like, I don't have any decks that I don't read with. And that is because I try really hard to always be like curating my collection and making sure that like I only keep the decks that truly resonate with me and that I can see myself using in the future. And if, you know, I don't see myself reading with it, I try really hard not to keep it. But when I went and looked at my decks, I realized there are a few decks that I don't use, and I guess I'll share why. So these 2 I consider as like a set. So this is my first tarot deck and my first oracle deck. And so I got these when I was, I don't know, 8 years old. They will never leave my collection, but I also will never read with them. So this tarot deck is some sort of like Barnes and Noble set. I don't know where the book is, but this is what I had when I was a kid. And so I keep it for sentimental reasons, but I'm just not going to read with it. And then same thing with Healing with the Angels Oracle cards, nice Dorian Virtue deck. And this still has the wrap, like the plastic wrap on it. So that just tells me like I was so, I tend to like try to keep my things nice, and I must have gotten this and been like, it's too special to use. And so it stayed in the box with its wrap on, and now it's too special to use because it's so sentimental. But these just like aren't my style now. But I will never get rid of them because they are like my very first tarot and oracle decks, and they hold meaning in that way. Maybe, who knows, maybe one day I'll actually open this one. And then the third deck that I never feel called to use is this little guy. I have no idea what its name is, and I don't see any trademarks or anything on the cards, but it's basically just this little set of moon cards that I got, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And I just never really used them for anything, but the artwork is so sweet that I feel like I can't get rid of it. And I would love to know, like, what is this deck's name? Where did I get it? I have no clue. So if anybody knows, please let me know, because I've been trying to figure that out for like years now. But I guess you could use them as altar cards to follow the phases of the moon. I just haven't really felt called to do that. Yeah. But it's so cute. I can't get rid of it. But I really try hard not to keep decks in my collection like that. 3 decks in your collection that you want to do a deep study with, and why. First deck that I want to do a deep study with is the Spirit Keepers Tarot. I had the original Spirit Keepers, like the first edition, and I rehomed that. I just felt like, I don't know, me and black and white decks don't always get along, and so when this edition came out, I love the pastel coloring. I think it's so beautiful to look at and beautiful to handle, but this deck is so like hallowed that it needs its own like dedicated deep dive study. I can't just like start using it without doing its due diligence. Like Benebell is such a prolific creator, and I want to read all of the content that she created for this deck and use it with the knowledge that was intended for it. So yeah, I want to save this for when I can truly give it the time that it needs. The next deck that I want to do a deep study with, and why, this is my Thoth tarot. I'm currently in the middle of doing a deck study, and because of like how long each of the cards takes me to get through, I put it in this category because yes, I'm doing it and I want to do it, but it's going to take me a while. And so for that reason, it's a deck in my collection I want to do a deep study with. Yeah. The last deck that I'm going to do a deep study with is this Telos Tarot of 777. This is the only other, I think it's the only other Thoth style deck that I have in my collection. And again, for the same reasons, like I want to get through my Thoth study before dedicating time to this. And also I think that she's putting out a full-size guidebook. Like it comes with a little book, but I think she's putting out a bigger guidebook. And so when that comes out, I will take the time to learn this deck in the way that it was intended. 3 decks that you want to use before the end of the year. So Oak, Ash, and Thorn is a deck that I love the artwork. Like, I think that it's so beautiful, and each painting is such a stunning little vignette. And I love the meanings that they've kind of incorporated into the artwork, but I don't really find myself reaching for it all that often, and I don't like keeping decks in my collection that I don't reach for. So this fall, I would really like to set the intention to use this deck more, and if I don't use it, then I think I would like to move it along. And it's not for any lack of loving the deck. Like, look at the little sweet little heart. And I love the cardstock on this, even though it's like a little bit thick to shuffle. It's got that swooshy, dry matte sound and feeling. And I usually like decks that have gilding, but this with its white edges just matches the borders on the front and the back so well that I don't feel like it needs anything. So I would like to use this more. The next deck that I'd like to use more is this Lacrimosa Tarot. So this is definitely not a deck that's in my normal wheelhouse aesthetic. Like, this is the darkest deck that I have. And like, that's why I feel like it's a winter deck for me. I plan to use this like wintertime sadness. Pull it out when it's kind of dark and dreary out. Like, I just don't see myself reading with this in the summertime or the springtime or the fall. See, but I think it does have a place. Like, it has a place in my collection. It sounds like I don't like this deck, but I really, really do love this deck. I think it has such a unique perspective, and it holds a special place in my collection because of this different voice that it has than my other decks. It's just not my typical go-to aesthetic. I think it's really thoughtfully crafted and intelligent and well done. It's something that I would go to specifically because I need the energy that this deck provides. There is a use case for it. So I want to keep it, but I want to use it more in the winter time when I feel like it will shine. And I got this Illuminated deck of Holy Souls Oracle, and I thought that maybe they might kind of complement each other. So I didn't get it specifically to like go with Lacrimosa, but I feel like they do each other justice. So I'd like to use this combination in the winter. You have like the dark, dreary sadness, and then you have like this bright pop of color hope to bring it back up for the reading. All right. Okay, so that's my 12 decks. The only hard rule was that you had to show 12 decks in total, and that is my 12 deck tag. Talk to you later. Signing out.